Workout of the day, Tuesday the 31st of March 2020. Today's workout of the day is 4 rounds. Each round is for time, separated by a 1-minute rest in between each round. Each round you need to complete 40 double unders, 20 V-ups, and 20 ground to overhead touches. That is our no equipment version. For our limited equipment version, it is 4 rounds, each for time, separated by a 1-minute rest, of 40 double unders, 20 V-ups or toes to bar if you have access to a pull-up bar, and 10 odd object clean and jerks. So you can use things like a sandbag, a dumbbell, a kettlebell, a barbell, or whatever you have available to you. Option number 3 is our full equipment version. Our full equipment version is 4 rounds, each for time, separated by a 1-minute rest, of 40 double unders, 20 toes to bar, and 10 clean and jerk, 60 kilos for the guys and 40 kilos for the ladies. They are our 3 versions of the workout of the day. Let's now have a look at all of the movements, our technique and points of performance, and all of the scaling options. Movement 1 is the double under. The double under is where the rope skips under the body twice for every jump that you do. Notice how I keep my arms nice and relaxed, elbows in towards my hips, and my hands just in front of my body. If you can do double unders, but 40 would be too many, we can reduce the reps. If you can't do double unders at all, then we will do 80 single skips. So that's where the rope passes under your body once for every jump. If you do not have yourself a skipping rope, then we're going to complete 40 star jumps. With a star jump, as our feet transition out, our hands touch above the head. As our feet come together, our hands touch into the side of our hips. That is movement number 1 for today's workout. Movement number 2 is a toes to bar. If you have access to a pull-up bar, then we're going to do toes to bar. With our hands just on the outside of our shoulders, active shoulder position, our heels come behind the plane of the bar at the bottom, and both toes touch the bar at the same time at the top. If you are unable to do toes to bar at all, we can do a hanging knee raise, raising the knees right up into the chest. If you have got toes to bar, but 20 would be too many, we can reduce the reps. If you haven't got access to a bar, then our scaling option is a V-up. With a V-up, we keep a straight line from the hip to the shoulder and a straight line from the hip down to the ankle, so we pivot just at the hips. From there, we aim to touch the toes above the height of our hips by crunching up and raising our legs. We come all the way back down so the shoulders and heels touch the floor, and then we crunch up, keeping our legs relatively straight and touching the toes above the height of the hips. If you are unable to do a V-up, then what we can do is a crunch and touch the toes with about a 90-degree bend at the knees. So from here, we come up and touch into the toes and touch the ground above our head. That is movement number 2, the toes to bar or hanging knee raises, V-ups, or our V-up crunch. Movement number 3 is the clean and jerk. The clean and jerk is performed with a barbell, and it is 10 reps each round. So I need the weight to be something you believe you could do 10 reps, touch and go, unbroken, so without putting the bar down. With the clean and jerk, the bar starts with both bumper plates in contact with the ground. With a nice flat back, we jump to the shoulders, and then jump overhead, finishing at full extension at the knees, hips, and elbows with the bar over the heels. From there, it comes back to the floor, so they were a couple of touch and go reps. I need the weight to be something you could do 10 touch and go reps in a row. The RXD weight is 60 for the guys, 40 for the ladies, or we scale down to something that is appropriate. Our limited version option, we can use whatever we have at our disposal to do a clean and jerk. As long as the implement touches the floor, touches or both shoulders depending on what you're using, and then finishes at extension at the elbow over the heels at the top with, again, 1 or 2 arms. If you have got a single, like a dumbbell or a kettlebell that it uses a single arm only, do 5 on one arm followed by 5 on the other arm. Let's have a look at a couple of implements I have available to me now. First one is the kettlebell. With the kettlebell, starts on the floor, again, nice flat back, gonna come up, catch in my rack position. Notice my thumb is into my sternum and my elbow's out supporting the kettlebell. Then from there, press out overhead. Again, I'm gonna do 5 on one side before swapping over and doing 5 on the opposite side. Next implement I'm going to use is a dumbbell. With a dumbbell, again, both heads of the dumbbell are going to touch the floor. Clean it up onto one shoulder and then out overhead. Clean and jerk. 5 on one arm, followed by 5 on the other arm. For both those two implements, I need it to be something you could do all 10 in a row. Next movement we're going to introduce is the sandbag, because as I said, I have a quantity of sandbags available for you to borrow if you're part of this program. So a couple of different ways we can do the sandbag clean and jerk. We can do it 2 arms, or we can do it in the middle with 2 arms or on one side. So let's have a look at the 2 different options. If I'm going to use 2 arms, it's just like a barbell. Comes from the ground, shoulders, and then overhead. I can also do the one-sided version. I'm going to stand beside it. It's going to come down, touch the floor, one shoulder, overhead, opposite side. So they're the 2 different options that you can choose to use for the sandbag clean and jerk. Then from there, if you have other objects available to you, a wall ball or a backpack full with weights, one of these options, probably the sandbag option, is going to be what you'll use for the clean and jerk. The no equipment version for the clean and jerk is a 2-hand touch to full extension jump. So how that's going to work, you're going to hinge over at the hips, touch both hands down to the outside of the balls of your feet. From there, jump up to full extension with both hands above the head. Let's have a look at a couple of reps. That's 2 reps, 20 reps in place of the 10 clean and jerks. That's if you have a home gym or literally no equipment. But remember, we do have some sandbags available. If you are one of those people that has no equipment at all, just email me at kobe@crossfitabode.com.